Thanks. Josh, I wanted to ask you about Danny Pereira. It looked like you had him alone in the number 6 role, and he played pretty well. Is that kind of where you see him? Do you feel like he's sort of, where are you in terms of thinking of him as the future of that spot for this club?
Well, I think he's a good young center mid to start with. We obviously selected him first in the draft because we saw potential and quality, and some of that quality is partly there, and some of it's our need and our ability to develop that. And again, he's going to take his lumps. Every first-year team does. Every first-year player does. And his ability to be resilient and rebound has been pretty good. And we play him as a 6 and build up sometimes alone. But I like that his mobility and his ability to turn at times and then accelerate, break lines by dribbling or passing is really good. And when he's in there with Alex, and at times we played with 2 center mids and they can pivot, just depending on what the opponent is and certainly what the opponent's what their ideas are of defending with that first line. So, but I certainly see him being a flexible player. If we play with 1, he can certainly do it. When we play with 2, absolutely, I think that's probably his best because he does a real good job moving and pivoting, and if he's marked, he moves away. If he's got time, he sits tight, he backpedals into gaps, which has been a part of his growth. And then his ability to have final balls. I think he does have more quality in the final third that we need to keep on boarding because I think if you remember when we played I forget who it was, maybe it was San Jose, just up in the final third, the combining the calm to see passes that maybe you don't typically expect from young guys. He's got that. But we got to continue to work with him and develop him. But I do see him more in, a 6, double 6, however we want to look at it, but very responsible for the most part. And he's had his lumps, there's no doubt about it. We all have, but that's part of it. He's going to grow from it. And today I thought it was a solid performance. He gave some balls away, he gets balls in traffic. It's going to be tough. But again, I think he's going to grow, and it's a big offseason for him to get physically a little bit stronger. Obviously, the game asks a lot in that part of the field in this league right now. It's paramount that you have the competitiveness and the ball winning. So he's got to up that side of it for sure. But he's a good player that has good potential.
Yeah, and talking to some of the fans, particularly some of the leaders of the supporters groups, I think there's an expectation that you guys treat, you get this win, obviously sets you up for next week to play for a supporter-driven trophy at the House. Are you prepared to treat that like a final, like I think some of those supporters kind of expect from you? Yeah,
again, I don't look at any of these games as I don't know if people are thinking they're throwaway games because at the end of the year. These games are for us to go out and win, plain and simple. We owe it to the fans, we owe it to the supporters, and these players owe it to themselves. I mean, they put up so many good performances this year. We've lost a number of games by a goal. So we're a competitive group, and to win anytime you're playing for a trophy, it's a great opportunity. And Copa de Tejas has been talked about, and now we're in a position to go win it. And we certainly should have plenty of reminders as to what it's going to look like in Dallas. And they're a good team, and enjoy tonight, but be fully committed, fully focused on how we can go there and win. And that's going to be our objective to again, for our players to keep building momentum and good performances, but for our fans and, to bring a trophy here and certainly our first season.
Thank you, Coach. Next up, Eric Goodman. Go for it, Eric.
Thanks, Laura. Josh, there was an obvious energy about the group tonight, and on so many occasions, especially on the defensive end, it looked like that extra effort was made. What do you credit that to?
Well, I think it's just the group's responsibility. I think at home we've talked about being a disciplined, organized team, really working hard on both sides of the ball and being difficult to break down. And again, their expected goals tonight wasn't much. They obviously got one on an own goal. But against Minnesota, it also wasn't very much, and they were able to sneak a goal there. So our performances at home, the last 3 or 4 have been really solid. Again, I think 3 or 4 goals is what was there for us, and those things again I'll continue to push. I don't know where we are, expected goals 7th in the league, and we're way down in certainly capturing, realizing what those goals are. But since August, we've been one of the best teams. So we're generating chances. I'd love for us to score more goals. That directly translates to better results and certainly more confidence. But the defending today was excellent. It was collective. A collective willingness and a collective determination is what I talked about with these guys. And it was on display. Cecilio from the get-go was backtracking and pressing, and our forwards did a great job, and our back line absolutely killed it. They busted their butt. Not just tonight. I talked to these guys. What I'm asking Julio and Johan to do each game, play every game, every minute. We're a little bit hamstrung with center backs, and they just keep powering through, grinding. And but it was a great collective effort. Nicky Lima was awesome. So just good resiliency, good determination to bounce back from midweek. But these guys always put in good work. I mean, they really do. So I'm proud of them.
Thank you. Next up, Colby Gordon with the Statesman. Go for it, Colby.
Hey Josh, just a thought on Cecilio's performance today. I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we wanted to, for him and Diego, we wanted to see a little bit what Cecilio looked like on the right side. And, of course, as he comes to the left side, he gives a couple little shimmies and draws a penalty. But, again, I thought he played okay in San Jose. And the defensive side for me was something that I made a note of, and just also his power and engaging what that game was going to look like. So that was part of what we brought him out for. And we talked about it. And today I think he responded again. His response with the ball, without the ball, and just his willingness to grind, compete, and continue to push this team in a good way. And that's what's expected of him. He's a charismatic guy, and obviously these guys respect him, but they'll love you and die for you if you show up and put in the work every day. And that's what we'll continue to push with him. He was solid. He was solid.
Thank you. Next up, Phil West.
Josh, congrats on the win.
Thanks,
I wanted to ask
Phil.
you first of all about the penalty kick and just get your reaction to that, because I remember maybe the SKC Portland playoff game a while back,
Yeah.
seeing it go double post like that, but just kind of wondering what you thought, if you knew it was going to be your day when you saw that.
Yeah, I was watching it on the screen. It was a nerve-wracking split second, but happy to see it go in. Obviously, CC, we put it up with these guys beforehand, who's responsible for it, and then if that person's not ready to take it, then we have the next guy in line. So he takes that responsibility well, and he finished it well. Obviously, one post, no post, I'd take that, but the double post, as you mentioned, the one in Portland, Kansas City, is a reminder. But glad it went in, and obviously I think it was much deserved, and I'd like to see us finish off the game in a way that now makes it a little more secure. But CC had a good job, Sebastian was great, Alex. It was a very strong collective performance from the guys.
Yeah, I just wanted you to elaborate a little bit more about Drew Busey, just kind of thinking about what he might be able to do for us.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that Sebastian's going to be able to do with this, and he has exceptional quality, exceptional leadership, whether it's vocal or not vocal. But by the way he plays, it's very clear the type of player and responsibility and intentions that he plays with. Quality with the ball is exceptional. I think a preseason for him and Musa will do a lot of good. There's a lot of detail that we need to bring back into his life, his role as far as how he can work for us. And but you can see what he does for this team. When good things are happening, he usually has some contact with it, whether it's out wide or it's down low, helping us get through some traffic. But he does an incredible job arriving in the penalty box, and his quality in and around goal is quite clear. I mean, he should have a few more goals. He's been quite influential, as I said, since August. Our goals, expected goals, is amongst the best, and he and Musa are a big part of that, I think.
Thank you. Next up, Mark Turner. Go for it, Mark.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, Coach. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
Obviously, you had a few games this season. We talked about this extensively, where beginning of the second half, it's been a bit of an issue. The team taking a while to warm up. What did you say to the guys in the locker room at half time? Because they came out very focused in that first 10 or 15 minutes. Really could have added to the tally.
Yeah. I think they've heard it enough from me. I think they've heard it enough from me as far as what I try to bring. And you just stay calm and you talk about what we did well there in the first half and how we can close the game out. Know that they're going to come with some heat and some intensity, but it was more the players. The players took this on. And again, I think that's some of the maturation that's needed. That's also starting to happen, and you see. Because they know when you have a lead in this league. They know what it looks like, and we've experienced that already. So I like that they're taking a hold of it a little more, and they're not going to need it from me. Obviously, I'll talk about it, but they're the drivers of that. When you get out there, the game starts. They're the ones making the actions, and again, second halves, we've had some moments where we've started well and given up a goal, and we've had some where we've started poorly and we've given up a goal. It would have been nice to capitalize off that nice start in the second half, but I'm glad with their focus and certainly their intensity that they brought in the second half.
And then you mentioned it was a great team performance this evening, and talked a little bit about Romagna and Cascante, who were fantastic, and so was Stuber as well. But I was really impressed by what you got out of the fullbacks this evening. Jimenez has been underrated all season. I thought Lima tonight just had a fantastic match. Can you speak to the fullbacks? Yeah,
Nick was a monster. He was over 1,600 meters high speed running in San Jose. He was hands down covering the most ground in that game, high-speed running, and there's some big performances on San Jose. So I was worried about him today, but he was a machine, tracking back, competing, dueling. certainly stretching out along the line, getting into the channel early to defend and compete and duel. And, Fafa's a heck of a player. So he had his hands full from the get-go, and I thought he did great. Hector is a very wise, experienced player, and he uses those intangibles to help himself when he's in these matches. He can duel well because he's positioned well, he anticipates, and then he brings remarkable calmness and real good decision-making. And those are things that, you hope are reflected in the way he performs, but also give other players confidence and help their understanding of what's going to be asked of them in that position as well. But him, Z, obviously Z got the rest tonight, but I thought Hector and Nick, as you mentioned, the whole back line and Brad were monsters, and they deserve a lot of accolades. They performed extremely well.
Thank you. Next up, sorry, John Luca with Gavin.
Thanks, Laura. Josh, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, Phil talked about Sebastian and when he has a full season of how you think he can do, but just talk about the link-up play he had with Alex. Obviously, Sebastian got a goal. Alex could have gotten a goal. The play they had, the way they were able to connect. Just talk about what you saw from the two of them tonight.
Yeah, it's glad you pointed out. I mean, that's a big reason why we put Alex up there, and you see a real calm backyard soccer aspect. Obviously, we have principles we want to play by, and we have these understanding of the positional game. But when you see these guys connecting and combining as Sebastian, Alex, Diego, Hector, and they bring others into the play, and it becomes very difficult to deal with, but very exciting, very attractive, and ultimately you want to score goals and create goals, and they were able to do that as well. But putting Alex up there next to Sebastian and getting Diego close to Sebastian was part of the objective today, and to see what that looked like, and obviously have CC on that weak side where he could get isolated and arrive in the box, which he does extremely well. But Sebastian, it's quite clear. I think his quality and the life and confidence that he brings to the field and to our team and to the players on the field is incredible. Again, he's a unique individual. He really is, and I think a proper preseason and proper time to again help develop and even allow him to share ideas as to how we can better use him and utilize his qualities, but what he thinks we can do with this team, because he has a lot of calm and quality that is quite clear in each and every one of these games. And he's a responsible player. That more than anything, I see that a real responsible professional that is real clear. He leads by performance and by the way that he plays. And there's plenty of our young players and our experienced players that should take note of that.
Also, you won 3 out of 4 now at home. Do you think that this is the way you've been consistently playing at home? Like you said, the games you have lost at home, you've only lost by a goal. Do you think that, I know you still have another home game left in Kansas City coming up, but do you think that this is the template for how you want to play at home over a full season going into next year?
Yeah, I think what the performances we've had over the last 6-7 weeks is more indicative of what we can be, who we can be. Who do we want to be? How do we want to be looked at around the league? We obviously want to be an attractive, entertaining, winning team, but we also want to be difficult to play against. We want to be, diligent, but also flexible in how we play, whether it's at home or on the road. So the performances at home have been good and of late, and we had some very good ones earlier on in the year, and we just weren't able to capture goals and realize that side of it. And again, we've mentioned as we've added, real significant players in the summer, that's helped that side of the game. But we need to continue to get better, and we will obviously have to address some some positional needs in the off season. But we have a good group. There's a lot to work with, and there's a lot to be proud of. And we got a big game against Dallas next week on the road, and our guys will be fully focused. They'll enjoy this, and as you said, we have one more game at home, and we've had 2 great matches against. For me, clearly one of the best teams in the league with Kansas City. So we won't get too far ahead of ourselves and look at that one, but great opportunities still lie ahead, and it's opportunities for our team to play and continue to grow.
Thank you. Looks like we have time for 2 more questions. Zach Smith, take the next one, then Archibald, go ahead and take that last question.
Thank you. You've talked a lot about defense, rightly so, after a game like that. How have you seen kind of that center back pairing of Julio and Johan grow in the time that they've been kind of forced to play a lot of minutes with no backup? Have you seen them get better together, communicate more, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's obviously we'll take a lot of heat for the amount of goals we've given up, but that's not the back line. That's the group. We score goals as a group. We give up goals as a group. But I think Johan and Julio, again, their ability now to have to take that responsibility, and we've minimized some of our playing out from goal kicks, but we still need to be able to play through pressure. So whenever we play back, those guys know what their role is. They're willing to play. And again, then there's the aspect of defending, which again, I think today was extremely good. Julio is a cerebral positional player. Johan is certainly instinctive and certainly young and youthful and powerful, and that's the balance that you really like to have on a back line. But obviously they're both still onboarding, or they've been in our system now for a while, so they've taken on a lot of information, and I think you've seen some of that growth. But it's always going to be challenging. Again, they're playing every minute of every game right now, and they're getting no break. And that's no fault of theirs, but they show up, they work, they have to deal with obviously the bumps and the lumps that maybe each one has in a game, but they got to push through and persevere. And again, this experience is going to make and is already visibly making them both better. And those are the things that we got to continue to focus on. But their teammates absolutely love them and adore them. There's loads of respect for them, and from the staff as well. So we keep pushing. We got 4 more games, and we'll do our best to minimize the goals we give up, but that's going to be collective.
Thank you. Archibald, go ahead and take the last question.
All right, thanks so much, Laura. Thanks, Josh. Kind of piggybacking on what some of the other guys are asking about it, and in regards to your defense, specifically the defensive transition.
Yeah.
Can you kind of live with that last goal? I know you would have loved to have had the clean sheet and everything, and that last own goal made for a nervy finish, but just the commitment from the guys in getting back in defensive transition today. What were your thoughts on that? I'm sure you had to have been happy with that, to see that commitment from the collective in your defensive transition today.
Yeah, it's a great question, a great point. And again, on that play and many of the plays, our guys were fighting and competing. And again, I'll look back to San Jose. I mean, these guys were doing a similar act against San Jose. It's tough. It's not easy, but they do everything they can to, again, we want to be able to break up plays early, but as we are unable to do that, or pressure or lines are broken, this collective need, this desire, this willingness to get down and get below the ball and make it challenging to do it, that's part of the deal. And it's unfortunate that I think we block the ball and it goes off Julio and it goes in, but the effort was awesome. The effort was incredible, and as I said, the want and the willingness of all of our players tonight to work on both sides of the ball was clear, as it's been there for most of the year. We've had a few performances where it maybe didn't meet up, but they're a great group. They work tirelessly, and as you said, they were fighting hard to get down for that one, and unfortunate to see that go in. Would have loved a shutout after the performance that back line and this entire group had tonight.
Thank you, Josh. That was all the time we had today with head coach Josh Wolff. Please stay on the line, and we'll be joined with midfielder